I'm a self-described universalist. That being the idea that in the end, all souls will be reconciled to God. But as I've matured in that view over the course of years, I've come to think that the three views of universalism, annihilationism, and the view that believes in a literal hell of eternal conscious torment are perhaps all true simultaneously, and that these are not the mutually exclusive understandings of eschatology that we like to think they are. For example, consider annihilationism. Perhaps there are souls who are so far gone, who have veered off the path to such a degree that realistically they just aren't going to find their way back. Maybe to destroy such a soul is mercy. But the Bible is full of stories of God destroying a thing only to create a new. You read in Revelation how ultimately even the heavens and the earth will pass away, only to be remade as the new heavens and the new earth. The idea of death and resurrection permeate Christian thought. So perhaps both could be true. Perhaps the soul that has veered so far off the path is annihilated. But then at a later time, God recreates them to give them a fresh start. I don't see why that couldn't be the case at all. The term eternal in the New Testament has to do with the Greek word aion, which means age. Literally, eternal life is life of the age. Eternal judgment is judgment in the age. So perhaps it's the case that some souls are destroyed, a period of time, an age passes, and then God creates them anew to give them another chance, a fresh start. Eternity is an awful long time. So it seems to me that annihilationism and universalism may actually be simultaneously true. Likewise, the view of eternal conscious torment, while at face value would certainly seem to contradict the idea of universalism, the idea that in the end all souls will be reconciled to God. But I've heard many a near-death experience in which a person enters into a realm, positive or negative, where they then describe a timeless experience, where they say it seems like it went on forever. And yet, they return to life to tell us about their experience. So I think eternal may be a type of experience. Infinite not in its temporal duration, but rather in its experiential breadth. There may be experiences of eternity where you experience everything in a timeless state, but that's not the end of the story. There are, of course, different levels of infinity, different sizes of infinity. Maybe it's the case that some souls, at some point in their journey after death, do enter into a hellish state that is eternal in that sense. But eventually, that is subsumed by a larger eternity in which they are reconciled to God. That would seem to be the picture painted by the near-death experiences that I've heard time and again. So there too, I think that even the traditional infernalist view of hell as being a place of eternal conscious torment may actually be compatible with universalism. Eternal conscious torment, annihilationism, and universalism may all be simultaneously true. I think from our very limited perspective as human beings, I just don't think we're equipped to understand the true nature of reality, the true scale of reality. We do not yet possess the conceptual framework necessary to understand. And so while I would ultimately describe myself as a universalist, I've come to the place where I think annihilationism and eternal conscious torment may also be true. They're all true.